Hey guys, Lily hanging out at Draper Startup House with our entrepreneur in residence, Scot Thom. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Excited for Monday.
So you are running an event for us next Monday
Yes,
on how to fundraise for your startup in Thailand,
that's correct.
right? So let's dive right into it. Let's get to the meaty stuff.
Sure.
What makes a startup an investable opportunity?
Ideally, a situation where they've identified who their clients are, who they're selling to. They've got some sort of traction, whether that's interest from within the community or they actually have paying customers, and where there's projected growth.
And where there's projected growth.
Yeah.
Can you clarify on that?
So basically, forward-looking statement. They're looking towards the future. They have identified that their client base is going to grow. They'll be able to make some money in the future, lots of money.
So basically, an investor wants to see product market fit. You actually know who your customer is and how to sell to them. They want to know that there is a market and that you have some clue of how you're going to get to that market and reach all this growth potential.
Yes, that's good.
Some clue.
Some clue. Or at least a hypothesis on what they're going to do.
There we go, a hypothesis.
Yes.
Right? And so, tell us about your background. What qualifies you to be telling people how to start fundraising?
I've had a number of different startups in the past, raised various amounts of money. Also had another finance company where we raised about $800 million for various different types of companies. Now living in Thailand, done some research, and have some connections with the finance community here as well.
Yeah. I remember when we first met, you told me that you founded a company, it did really well, and then you founded another company and it did really terribly.
Yes.
And that you've lived the life of a serial entrepreneur and gone through those ups and downs.
Lots of ups, many more downs.
Yeah, I think something that I've been reflecting on lately is, it's very easy when you've done many things to say like, oh, you shouldn't be afraid to fail. But when you're someone who's doing something for the very first time and you don't have that wisdom of like being able to look back, it's a lot scarier, the idea of failure, right?
It can be, yeah. And it's just, honestly, you do what you can to reduce as much risk as possible. Part of that is by getting external investments or to raise capital outside of the company. So it's not just the founders who are putting all the money in and doing things that way.
And what's been your personal relationship with failure? Were you always so open-minded about it?
It's do what you can to minimize it at every point, and never be afraid to walk away.
Never be afraid to walk away. So is that a lesson? Is that a particular opportunity really hammered home for you?
Yeah, it's just a lot of the times if you look at an opportunity in front of you, don't be afraid to say no. So if it's not an absolutely perfect fit, then do what's best for you.
And so perhaps tell us from the perspective of a couple of companies or startups that you've been working with lately and where you see them go. How do you decide whether, well, let's say in this context, how do you decide whether a fundraising opportunity, whether an investor is right for you? How do you decide whether it's a good opportunity to go or walk away from it?
Well, it depends on what stage of investment you're looking to raise. So if you're doing an early stage fundraise, you tend to be raising money from friends and family or from angel investors. In that case, you're looking for someone who is either going to be extremely passive and they're going to help you get to the next milestone you're trying to hit, or somebody who has an active network that you can tap into, who can sit on your board or bring in clients and help grow your company.
Yeah. And what's been your personal experience with that in the past?
It's been mixed. Some people, they come on board as a passive investor and they turn out to be much more active than what you anticipated. Sometimes you refund the money. Sometimes you kind of just figure out what's the best fit for you and for your startup.
And how's it fitting for you being a mentor here at Draper Startup House? So I think in particular, one startup that you've been mentoring, I think it was supposed to be just a quick sit-down call for you to help brush up their pitch deck, but I've seen them coming back very regularly to keep in touch with you. You seem very invested.
Yeah, so essentially they were pitching for a competition to get something like 600,000 baht. Turns out they were well past doing a pitch. They're actually in front of their potential clients, doing pitches. They're now at the point where I think they've closed 5 deals in the past month. And really, they're on the way to being profitable probably by the end of next month.
Right.
So,
And so you've been holding these startup office hours to just help answer questions, but like, well, what makes you, you don't have to give your time to these young people and help them in the future. What makes you excited to do that?
It's good to see people, I guess, see them succeed, number one, and you can avoid a lot of the common pitfalls that a lot of startups fall into. So,
yeah.
Not fundraising is not for every startup. A lot of the times it is go to your potential clients first, talk to them, figure out what their pain points are, see if you can get money from them first as early as possible, and
because then that's called traction.
Yes, traction's very good.
Yeah. And did you have a mentor to help you out the very first time you started fundraising? How did you go through that experience?
I did. The very first startup that I had somebody who was very active in that. That was a long time ago.
Tell us more.
Essentially, he had developed the first electronic product to help with machine shops, automotive shops, things like that, and made a lot of money off of that. And same thing, just sat down and hammered away the different points. Here's what you have to do. Mapped everything out, and then basically said, "Now go do it." So,
Very exciting. And so, what can the people who have signed up for this fundraising workshop on Monday expect?
So essentially,
look forward to.
Yeah, we're going to walk through what are the differences between Thailand and other parts of the world in terms of startup fundraising. What are the different categories of fundraising opportunities in Thailand? So, angel investors, VCs, bank opportunities, government grants, and pitch competitions, and then getting into opportunities that are actively available through startup, or sorry, through the Draper Startup House.
Yeah. Awesome. Very exciting. So if you are interested in learning about startup fundraising at any stage, if you're just starting your business and you really just want to understand what the future could be, or if you're like ready to start fundraising today, do come hang out with us at Draper Startup House. Scott is an excellent guy to talk to. I'm also here to tell you about the Draper Venture Network. We help startups from around the world at any stage get matched with angel investors, with accelerators, with VCs, whatever it is that you're looking for. We're here to be a resource if you're fundraising, so be sure to sign up if you haven't already for next Monday's event. You have a session at 9 a.m. and 7 p.m., right? So no excuses about like, I'm at work, or I already had dinner plans. You got 2 sessions to choose from. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Zoe.